I've come to witness the battle for Bajour in its third month. More than 8,000 Pakistan troops have been fighting in the valley, trying to push Al-Qaeda and the Taliban out of the town of Loasam, just 13 kilometers away. A walk outside the fort is a walk through a ghost town. Houses are empty, the shops are shut, the street vendors' stalls are abandoned. A township of 11,000 people has been displaced by the fighting. For many, this is what Pakistan's war with the militants has brought. 400 families from Bajour fled across the border into Kunar province in Afghanistan. Another 300,000 people came to the camps inside Pakistan. Officials say 95 civilians have been killed. The government, the UN and charities, this one funded by British Muslims, have provided tents, blankets and food.
This is for your family?
For the 12 person, our family.
12 people?
12 people.
Just this and that?
Yes, this.
These are all refugees from Bajour. Nurzada is a teacher from the militant-controlled town of Loasam.
When the war started, I was teaching. It was 12:30. When I came out, I could hear the army firing. Then the militants came, and they fired face to face. I got into the car and rushed home. When the bombs started and fell on our homes, we left at about midnight, and we traveled through the night over the mountains for 3 to 4 hours.
Before the fighting began, was the area where you were living, Loasam, dominated by the Taliban?
Before the war, the Taliban were in control. They controlled everything. They had Sharia courts that dealt with all matters completely according to Sharia law.
This is just one camp. Some refugees have gone to the cities. Visiting another camp an hour away, I find local families are helping from their own private resources. Umar Khan is one of them. He's been here every day with food provided by his mother and aunt.
Islam teaches us that all Muslims are brothers.
Yeah.
So the main reason why we are helping these people is that they are like our brother, like our family, and these are the poor people, nobody will help them. My mother and my aunt, they are just helping them by just taking funds from their families.
Right.
I feel very bad for these people because they have nothing to do with these all cases like, you know,
and terrorism
terrorism, and you can see these all people, they got nothing. They didn't even got a single penny to buy food for themselves.
And none of them know when they'll be able to go home. Back in Bajour, the operations against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda continue. General Tariq is planning a big push against the militants' main base. He arrives with Colonel Zahid, who will lead the troops into the battle. Before the operation begins, the general rallies his troops with a reminder of how the Taliban have hijacked Islam.
सिलसिला ये है कि इन्होंने एक नया किस्म का इस्लाम शुरू किया हो। इस्लाम ने हक नहीं दिया कि किसी पर उंगली उठाए और बोले कि तुम अच्छे मुसलमान हो या बुरे मुसलमान। लिहाजा ये कौन है ये लोग जो सर्टिफिकेट दे रहे हैं एक दूसरे को कि तुम शहीद हो जाओगे और तुम अच्छे मुसलमान हो, दूसरे लोग उनसे बुरे मुसलमान हैं। ये तो इस्लाम है कि है। और इससे पाकिस्तान को बचाना है आपने। इन्फेंट्री का रोल क्या है? क्लोज विथ एंड डिस्ट्रॉय थ्रू स्किलफुल फायर पावर एंड मनूवर, है कि नहीं है? क्लोज विथ एंड डिस्ट्रॉय, ठीक है ना? उसको जाकर पकड़ना गले से और उसको वहां से बाहर निकालना अपने मुंह से। कर सकते हो कि नहीं कर सकते? बहुत यार तुम लोगों का मोरल डाउन है। तो अभी तैयार हैं आप लोग? तो इनको बता दूं कि आ रहे हैं 63 FF आ रही है।
Colonel Zayed's men prepare their weapons for battle. From the security of the fort, their first objective might sound straightforward. The men have to take another mud-walled compound. It's only 800 meters beyond the village of Tankhata, which they already control. But similarly straightforward targets have cost many casualties in the past. It's just before dawn and the main battle tanks have begun moving towards the front line, and this suggests that this is the main military push by the Pakistani army against the militants here in Bajour. It's almost midday, but I've been told I can't go to the front line just yet. There are rumors that Colonel Zayed and his men have been ambushed by the militants. Casualties start to arrive, including a captured militant. This is the daily price of Pakistan's war in its own land. Since joining the so-called war on terror, over 1,400 Pakistani soldiers have been killed and nearly 3,400 wounded. The Bajour campaign is a powerful answer to anyone doubting Pakistan's commitment to this war. As a new battalion leaves for the front line, I'm finally allowed to go forward with them. Watching the men going into attack, I wonder what the day will bring for them and whether all of them will make it back. Suddenly, tanks come charging down the road from the front line. The troops are moving forward very slowly, as you can see, down towards Tankhata, which is just a few kilometers, but you may be able to hear there is still quite a lot of heavy fighting going on. You can hear small arms fire, heavy machine guns and mortars from both sides, and we just learned that the tanks that came back quickly up the road had come under very heavy fire. As the firing gets closer, the soldiers pull back.
सर वो आगे हैं सर रशकाई वाली साइड पे और सर सेफ एंड साउंड है हेलीज आ रही हैं सर वो फिजिकल रेट तो होते रहते हैं रात को लेकिन
I think what's happened is that the tanks who came driving up the road incredibly quickly came under an ambush, and the tank commander's just giving the field command back up the road details of what happened, but he's obviously still quite shaken, understandably.
Suddenly the situation has changed. It seems that the Taliban have counterattacked. The orders are to retreat to base.
I think the shocking thing of today was seeing the audacity and the daring nature of the militants, how they, ferociously re-attack positions they were driven from only a few days earlier. And as a result of their hit-and-run tactics that we saw for ourselves, 2 Pakistani soldiers are dead, 7 are wounded, one of them critically.